Banter fam, happy Monday to you all. So guys, things have obviously escalated. We are seeing a lot of fear within the streets. It does look like the US did get involved. And now we've got to speak about this, right? This is obviously what started to create a little bit of the drop off within Bitcoin. We did start to lose the bull flag. And what that means now is looking at the critical levels, right? Looking at where are the next big support zones. However, guys, we cannot deny that this has been incredibly tough, especially the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, last couple of months have been tough, but the last couple of days, again, just this drop. So guys, if you have been suffering when it comes to your portfolio, when it comes to maybe trades and things like that, I want to go through a bunch of things within the show. I have made a bunch of changes to my portfolio, and I've made one or two changes to my strategy. And basically what this is starting to move with the markets. If we're going to see a little bit more panic in the streets, I do think there is another dip off to income. We are now seeing that there's a couple of CME gaps sitting in the 90,000s. We have one at 96, 97, and we have another one at 91, 92. I want to speak about if we can go to these levels and what this look like on altcoins. But the very important part of today is how we pivot our portfolio and our strategy going forward. You must understand something. Price is coming down specifically when it comes to altcoins, right? This does create more opportunity to the downside. You cannot look at this as one side. You have to look at it that, whoa, if this thing has come down even more, this is more gains to the upside. Trades that I was looking at last week were 40% trades. They're now 80% trades, right? But the question is, how do you shift and survive these periods? How do you get through this when the market turns like this or just continues the roughness? How do you pivot, and what do you actually do when it comes to recovering quickly and getting everything back on track? So today's going to be a great show of going through the markets of where we're seeing things go next, but as well as a very important show when it comes to adjusting the mindsets, changing the strategy, and making sure we're turning this disaster into a massive opportunity. So guys, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Let's have a great show. No more wasting time. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Alrighty, guys, like it up if you ain't gonna quit, right? I know it's tough. Trust me, I sat yesterday as well, and I am hundreds of thousands of dollars down from the last 7 days, right? It hurts. It sucks. However, right, there is a game plan here, and there's something that we have to pivot and move and get through these patches, and then the sun will rise again, right? And again, you want to ask me the question of, Sheldon, how could we have still been bullish with all this in the air? I just want to remind you of something. I want to go here. I want to go to the high time frame over here. And again, you know me, I'm very much bullish on alts, very much preparing for a bull. I still believe there's a bull. I still believe that once all of this disaster stuff that's kind of going on, there's going to be a good patch, right? Where I do think rate cuts are coming, and I do think printers are coming on, and I do think there is going to be temporary fixes within the world that's going to strongly push the market for a couple of months again to a year or two, and then go into devastation. I think the system as a whole has many cracks, but I think each crack will be plastered together as we are there to temporarily fix it, and then the crack will show itself again in a couple of months, right? This is why you'll have bear markets, why you have bull markets. I still believe that there will be a massive distribution of money out of Bitcoin into altcoins. I still believe there will be a massive run, okay? But again, things and timing will change, but the system will remain, right? It's how things work, and I do believe that things will move. But again, you want to ask me, how could I stay bullish? Right? I just don't understand how you could be bearish when it comes to this, right? When it comes to your favorite altcoins, good tech, one of the best industries in the world right now. We're still early, which means it's a volatile industry, but over time, it will start to slow down, right? But you just go down the list of the best tokens we have within crypto, and you just look at where the hell they are, right? And we must sit and be bearish. For me, it's like, no, we got to sit and survive and make sure that we are fishing in these areas. So when the market explodes again, we're going to make a ton of money, right? That's the way I see it. For me to turn bearish and to go bear at these times over here, when you look at where the altcoins are and you look at where bullish Bitcoin is sitting, right? Bitcoin is seriously looking strong when it comes to high time investments, right? And altcoins are extremely undervalued, okay? And that's why for me, always before, I remember the times over here when times were tough too. They were the best entries you could get. Right, they were the best times to stay within crypto and to make life-changing money is those who fish in these areas. And yes, we'll probably say that 90% of crypto has been flushed out. I would say 80 to 90% of retail is gone, right? Interest within crypto. People are now gone. So now who remains is the warriors within the markets. Now we do have to adjust the strategies and survive this hard mental state at this point. But you can't deny where we are within the market is not probably the best opportunities you could get, right? It's just insane to see where we are here. So a lot of people say, Sheldon, like, how could, like, could have been bearish, could have been this. I can't be bearish. Physically, if I look at this, you will see a bearish Sheldon one day. I promise you will see a bearish Sheldon. But you'll see it after a rally, a very strong weekly rally. You will see a bearish Sheldon. You see someone that's there, and then you'll be like, who the hell is this guy? Type of thing, right? But when things are coming down and we are chopping and these phases over here, you won't see a bearish me. You will only see a bullish me, and you'll see that I will basically work with the market and I'll go bull when there's strong levels. And if it shifts and changes, then I adjust, I survive, and then I get back in. And that's what I want to show you guys today. A couple of changes that you can think about when it comes to your portfolio as well as your strategy to kind of adjust and turn this, what you may call disaster. Now I was looking, the stock market's not even down. If we look here at the futures, very little. If you look here, like that's the weekly chart on the stocks. If we look at the oil as well, keeping eyes, it has had a break. I see it's had a decent rejection over the last little while. I just want to show you here on the daily. I saw a nice little candle here coming back into the trend. So there is a ton. Remember, there is a lot of support on oil here, saying that there could be a rejection at any point. Okay, but I'm not seeing massive pushes. Now, yes, there's fear in the streets. There's uncertainty, right? And I think crypto is still being valued. Other than Bitcoin, I still think it's being valued as this extra investment. You know, when you put your savings and you have everything saved out, I think crypto is like the 5%, 10%, right? Therefore, when there's big things happening within the world, I think crypto will be one of the easiest to go and dump, right? When it comes to that. Now, I'm an honest believer, I'm a full believer that later on in life that will change. I think crypto is going to become one of the most valuable assets, and you're going to hold that on for as much as you can. But when it comes to the realistic point of the market right now, retail are just very spinach heads when it comes. And guys, I get it. If you need the cash or you're worried and there's nothing wrong, but you need to have a plan. I sold 4% of my long-term and spot bags yesterday. Okay, I did. Okay, however, it was for a reason, and I'm going to show you guys that reason of how I'm going to use that money differently to make the comeback quicker. Not because I'm exiting. It's because I need to get out of some losing positions, reset the mind, realize that I had some terrible entries on a couple of alts, and I can actually do something. If I take a bit of profits, or not profits, but I exit some money now, I can actually build positions lower down and I can build things up, right? So there's a point of understanding of running away from crypto, which I think is a very bad thing to do right now. But there's also a time to say, okay, I'm going to get rid of all the ships that I have holes in right now, and I'm going to rebuild now and use this smartly and go again. The next thing that is also vitally important for me as well is to remind myself, what is my plan? And my plan very much is simple. My goal, guys, between me and you, okay, is I want to financially retire in 2 to 3 years from now, right? And then after that, I want to go on this massive motivational talk, and I want to go talk on stages around the world and just teach for free for the rest of my life, right? That is my plan. So what that means automatically is I've set myself a 2 to 3 year gap of retiring financially and making sure that's done, which means that when there's opportunity, I'm going for the bigger move. That's what I'm trading for. I am trading and building entries for the bull markets. Anything in between, if it gets smashed, I look to re-enter, I change strategies, but it doesn't make me think that this is over because I've given myself 2 to 3 years to get there. It's only but just said, okay, just survive a little bit more. You went a little bit over here. There were some shorts last week you could have actually looked at. You didn't look at them. You know, these type of things as well. But when it comes to my success and where I'm going, you know, I realize that I'm here to get rich in 2 to 3 years, right? And therefore, for me, these things is not I'm getting up today and quitting. It's more about, okay, let's get up, match with the market, look at the next areas, look what you can fix, look what you can do, and let's go again. By doing that, you ease off, you give yourself a realistic time frame, and you realize again that there is huge opportunities over here. And by looking at small time frame moves and these type of things, you know, may distract you from the bigger picture. Okay. Again, I think it's also pretty clear there's a lot of exchange of hands happening right now. I think that retail are meant to get flushed out of markets right now. And I think there's a lot of big wallets buying. That's just my personal view of it. But I think that it's getting really tough right now. But where it doesn't get tough is when the market just pops, right? And you just have this huge run. And we saw it very much over here. When this just happens out of nowhere, you can see it happen so damn quickly out of nowhere. You know, I don't want to be caught trying to figure out, am I entering and building positions when this happens? right? When the massive rally, and again, after all of this hard work, it comes, okay, it comes after all the hard work and the dropouts. And remember, the banks were collapsing over here, and there's also war threats, and there was also the whole Ukraine, and everything was happening over there. Once it was done, assets went up again, everything started to move again, right? So giving yourself that bit more time and understanding, you can start making better decisions from today. Okay, and then we keep going, we keep pushing, we keep fighting. Very important. Again, when it comes to high time frame, I just want to go through a couple of things. So Bitcoin has lost a little bull flag over here, which means we must be careful with this little temporary bounce we are seeing. It's probably likely that it's not 100% real yet. Okay, however, we're about to come into a lot of support with Bitcoin. Okay, which means we should start preparing ourselves for maybe another speed up drop and a buy up in a strong liquidity zone. Okay, again, what you can kind of do with this as well is allow it to drop, allow it to bounce, and then make the decisions. You can make some decisions now, as long as your decisions align with your actual thesis, right? Again, my thesis is to be rich in 2 to 3 years. So when I sold the portfolios yesterday, it was actually to free up cash to build positions on this dip, right? That because I think there's one more little dip incoming. I want cash available. Okay, and I'm going to explain also later on in the show exactly how I'm doing that cash, but it aligns with my 3 years. It's not I'm panicking out now and just scared and just running away. No, it's I'm packing out. I'm taking a few bit of cash off the table, only of positions that are actually good. So 𝗬𝗏, I took a little bit off the table, right? I took a little bit of Solana off the table on my spot and long-term bags. Okay, I didn't go and take my coins that were lower down. However, what I did do with my lower coins, right? Polkadot as an example. My Polkadot entries on my long-term bag is around 60% down. Okay. So what I decided to do was I decided to take 4% of that and I sold 4% of the Polkadot bag. Then what I did is I took the money and I went to a futures exchange. Okay. And I went to 1x on Polkadot. Now, the reason why I did that is it didn't change anything. I basically exited, I took the money and I went on a 1x. No leverage, no nothing, 1x, right? But what I did with that is I took the entry on Polkadot. Why? Because if the market, when the market at any point pops up again and explodes again, right? And my Polkadot that I took now, a fresh entry, because the old one is sitting in the old entries. The market needs to go up 50, 60% and then it's recovered, right? But when it comes to this position, I've now exited and it's a fresh position now that's starting off over here at the bottom. When things start to rise up, I can choose to go adjust leverage and go build that position bigger. For now, I'm not bothered because I don't want any liquidations. I don't want any worries. I don't want anything like that. However, I want a new starting point. I don't want to look at this dump as something where it's, I want to recover my money. I want to look at it to say, you know what, a certain percentage, I'm going to call it a day right now. And I'm going to start brand new positions right now at the bottom. Therefore, when this market starts to rally up again, I have the power to say I want to up the leverage and make those positions bigger and actually do something for when this recovery starts to happen. So when this recovery starts to happen and we start to push back up again, I can actually do something with that position to be up in money by the time the other one is just recovered, right? So there's 2 reasons why I did that. Firstly, is throughout this entire journey, I have built a skill when it comes to leverage in bull markets. Bear markets, I have to survive. These traps have to survive. I'll hit accounts. I'll hit these type of things. But the way I do it is I have a lump sum of money that I split into multiple lives. And I don't care if Bitcoin falls to $10,000 tomorrow. I will have money to open up a leverage account when we get there, because that's what I've done. I've split it up into multiple lives, right? But secondly, I've also learned the ability of being able to, once you get something right, you can actually get more liquidity and buy and build things quicker. Okay, and these are things, yet again, obviously I teach them in school and we teach them a lot in club and these type of things as well. But that's given me the ability now to say, okay, I can use my skill to build back quicker. The second big reason why I did it, okay, is a mental shift in my brain. I cannot keep looking at red every day, right? If I look and I see red, it's kind of putting me in this rat race within myself, and it's quite depressing. So for me, I need to take a certain percentage of my past and I need to call it a day, and I need to start fresh with something, okay? And if I start fresh, it's a new start, it's a new beginning. It makes me feel better, makes me feel like I have something to build off the bottom over here, okay? You cannot live your life, and this is one very important thing for you to do from today. You cannot live your life looking in the rearview mirror, right? You just can't do it. When you're driving, you have to focus on the road and where you're getting when it comes to the life that you want, right? You can't be sitting staring at that back type of thing. So again, I decided to take a certain part of my past, okay, call it a day, done. and actually have something to be excited about, something brand new, something that I can use to take advantage of big red days, not thinking about the past, because again, your goal's in 2-3 years, right? And that's the same thing for me as well. Okay. And by doing this, you'll see quickly how you get your strength back, how you get your momentum back, get things moving, and you actually turn something like this into a major success. Now, again, if we just go through a couple of things over here, right, you got to understand a few things. If we look at 2 weeks ago, let's say being bullish on Solana, right? Being bullish on Solana 160, right? The trade was to 220, right? That's a 43%. Okay, now all of a sudden we go from where we are now and it's turned to a 70%. So from a 40% at 70%, now all of a sudden I must be bearish? No, I just need a new look at things, which means if I am bearish because my positions are down, then I'm taking a certain percentage, calling it a day, restarting them and going in again so that I can look at the 70% and say, you know what, this is an opportunity. This is something that I can do with this over here and I can actually do great. And what that does is it motivates me to be in the schools, to be in this, to be in everything right now, because you have a brand new start, you have a fresh movement. The moment you're going to put too much pressure on what happened in the recent events, doesn't matter anymore, right? It doesn't. You are here to get rich 2-3 years. That is the goal. That is the mentality. So what's going to get your brain reset and pumping today is that fresh start of letting go. And you remember what I said? I did not sell 90% of my bags. I sold 4%. You know what? I feel great. I feel great. I feel that I actually have money now, that its markets drop even more and things like that. I can do a different style now and a different strategy. When I'm holding on to the old positions and the old strategies, I'm going to tend to keep doing the same strategy that was doing, right? And it's kind of I got to sit there and wait for this thing to kind of recover. Where now it's like, oh, I've learned a lot. We've been through a lot over the last couple of weeks. Let's take 4%. Let's start fresh over here. It excites me again. It gives me the new look. And again, what is that doing? Is upgrading you as a person, as a trader, as your skill levels, as your mentality, everything in the hard times. And you'll soon learn that this is one of the biggest skills you'll learn within your life, is turning and pivoting when the hard and red days are happening, right? Those pivots make a vital change. And I actually spoke to one of my coaches that in this time, guys, last 3 months, right, I have a mental coach, I have a performance coach, I've got a gym coach, I've got an eating coach. Like I'm busy like making so many different changes to mentally stay strong within these things. But we spoke about one thing. We spoke about if you make a 0.5% change daily in anything, okay, it starts off like this. But if you start looking in 3 months, you start to see this huge change happen, right? And if you start to look at it in a year, you will see we will be hundreds of kilometers away from each other just by taking a 0.5%, a little bit more of a step like this every single day, right? So again, in these hard times, these small pivots that you make, you won't realize in the next year what those small pivots work like. For example, the hard red days change things, okay? And if your old stuff is holding you back, then sell 3% of it to get your damn, sorry for my language, but your cojones back, right? Get your damn cojones back, get your confidence back, get your mental state strong again and go. Right? But if you are going to be a low self-esteem version of yourself and you're going to be low down and hanging in all of these type of things, you just ain't going to see clearly. It's going to be a long, bumpy ride. Okay. And again, these big red days are big fundamental pivots within your brain, within your systems. And I promise you, they make a huge, huge, huge shift. So again, did I get smacked last week on a couple entries? Yes. Did I get stopped out on a lot of them? Yes. Do I have a bunch of cash that's less than last week, but do I have a bunch of cash today? Yes. I still stuck to the rules. The indicator told me put stop losses and they all hit beautifully because look how much lower price went down. And the way I thought of it is I put a bunch of spot trades. I'll get to the charts now, guys. I just want to talk to you. A bunch of spot trades, right? Hit stop losses. Okay. And one thing that made me realize again, especially with spot, is Sheldon, really look at the way you think about your trading, right? The reason why I'm saying that is I had, let's say, for example, 1,000 Solanas, right? I had them at that 160 entry or so, and I had a stop loss at the 138, 140, right? Dollar mark. Price then dropped down nearly to 120. Now, what that meant was by getting stopped out at that 140, one thing, I was out into cash, did take a 10% lock on money, okay? But what I realized now, and I just want to show you guys over here, there is a scenario now of Solana dropping, just go back here, okay, to 115, and we also have 96 again, right? So I'm going to go through this. We are on support now. Why is this magnet on here? Okay, this is the scenarios over here. And we don't have any major reversal signs just yet, but I'll go through the scenarios now, okay? But I was just like, okay, but I'm looking now, I have this where we hit, obviously, is 126, then there's 115, and there's 100 over here too. I got stopped out over here, right? Now, what would a person that wants to get rich in 3 months from now be thinking? Ah, shit, I'm down. Jeez, I took a loss now, these type of things. What does a person that says I'm going to be rich in 2-3 years say from this rather? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I got stopped out. If we go here and I buy, didn't I sell out 1,000 Solanas over here? Okay. Now price has gone down from where I got stopped out by 20%. Does that not mean if I buy here, I'll have 1,200 Solana? And does that not mean like if I see Solana going to $1,000 one day, does that not mean that that extra $200 could be worth a lot of money in the 200 tokens could be a lot more, right? So by someone that just changed my mindset of thinking about something, you know, to a little bit longer, made me realize that, oh, I got stopped in a bunch of spots here, but buying lower, I've accumulated more coins, right? And therefore, it means nothing when the market's going down. When the market goes up, you don't realize you've got 20-30% more coins. What does that mean? It double compounds when the market goes up again, right? And that taught me a lot. So again, I'm sitting here today, and that's why as well I freed up a little bit of cash yesterday. I'm like, oh, maybe I should take 2% or 3% of my cash and build some, like, I don't know, farming techniques and just like farm some tokens, get the pump, wait down, like, you know what I mean? But all I'm trying to say is the moment that I just released a little bit of the pressure of the past, I could see a few more roads, right? I could see a few more options open again. And I didn't have to make the hugest pivot in the world. I had to make a small one. But all that it did is it just made me start thinking out of the box, where if I just stayed with that scenario, okay, and I didn't make any changes, I was kind of just going to be sit here today and play the same thing we played for multiple ways over here too. So I'm now looking at, shit, where can I buy back more Solanas, right? What's the right thing? Don't FOMO too quickly now. I can farm a bit of Solanas over here. Okay, I do have a nice little trend here to kind of give me that emergency sign. And worst scenario, I'll get back in where my Solanas were. Okay, but it's so nice to be on the other side and start thinking about these type of things. So again, guys, reset of the brain, let go a little bit of the past. It can even be 1% of the past, 2% of the past. And I'm only saying do this. Again, no advice at all. This is your journey. I'm just saying if you are stuck mentally, okay, and it's starting to get to you really bad, you need to make a small pivot. And it can be a 1%, 2% pivot, but you need to do something that you can relook things at a fresh outlook, can give you that motivation again to see opportunity again and not something that is bad. Okay, and give yourself a little bit of that room to your success so that you can realize that there's a journey to your success. And this short-term play that's happening right now actually doesn't affect the big goal. The shifts that you make now and the small changes that you make can maybe make a small difference. Again, if you can make small pivots right now to your strategy, right, this could be the difference to you making $1 million and $5 million, right, in the future. Just that small little shift, because I told you, as that goes over there, that little shift, that's the big game changer that makes when all of these comes in. Okay, fantastic. You're the engine of this train, Sheldon. Guys, I know it's hard. Again, I relate to you. I relate to you a lot. I'm down a lot of money from the year, right? But I look back from 4 years ago, I'm really up from where I am now. And I also got to realize that I decided I'm a positive person. So I long more than short, right? We know that. I'm more bullish than bearish. Why? Because over time, high time frame, I believe that we're going to have big bull markets, and that's how I'm going to make my money. I've only been practicing long strategies for the last year and a half, right? You know that. Therefore, guess what happens? When the market explodes and goes parabolic to the upside, who's the number one YouTuber, crypto TA YouTuber in the world? When the market goes up, let it go up for 4 or 5 weeks. Who's the number one that outgrows anyone and destroys? Why? Because that's what I practice. I want to practice baseball. I don't want to practice baseball and football, right? I want to practice baseball because that is where I see things. And again, if I zoom out, I just don't know how the hell I could be incredibly bearish on altcoins when it comes to this. So I'm practicing in the off league now for the big run. Okay, guys, now let's jump into some TA. Let's go through a couple of things. Bull flag lost. Now it's time for us to prepare ourselves for supports. When it comes to Bitcoin. The big thing to understand as well is there's some CME gaps, right? I love how Nick says that, it's now a bad time to remind you we have 2 unclosed CME gaps. So that now opens, now that we're pulling back, now it opens the doors to say, okay, how deep are we going to actually go? Now, I want to zoom out here again quickly and just remind you, anywhere of a higher low is bullish for Bitcoin, even though short term it does suck and it does this. But anything, if you take the drawing over here, even to where we are now, or even if we go there, okay, and you look at what that really looks like, it ain't a bearish chart, right? It ain't bearish. You still have a way stronger green team than a red team, okay? So now we do have to look at, okay, if we do want to come here to 90, 95, 96, that's over here. And if we do want to come down to the late 90s, that's over here. Okay, but that's still a very strong higher low. Okay, and it's still very much for us to be motivated that we're in a bull market, right? Again, the last phase of the bull market will be an alt-season rally. Oh, and one more thing. I'm sorry, I don't care. I'll call it for the rest of my life until it happens, right? I can't be bearish on altcoins of this chart. And Bitcoin dominance is going up like this for years now. I cannot be bearish on altcoins. There's just no damn way, right? Okay. So let's go in and let me show you guys a couple of things. Here is CME gaps. Okay. So what am I looking for now is I want to look for a couple of reasons here when it comes to where we're going to kind of bounce on Bitcoin. So what I'm looking for is I'll find a bunch of supports. Let me show you guys the support levels. Here's the support levels on Bitcoin. The strong supports, even the indicators back in this too. I'll jump in over here and show you guys. You see the supports, it's showing 96 and it's showing 93, 92 as well. So the indicator is even saying this over here. Guys, just to show you, I went long on the indicator last week. The indicator, all I did when I went here is I turned off the shorts, right? Because that's me, the way I think and the way I've been doing things. When you put them both on, you'll see here, there was a lot of shorts that were called as over here as well. And that just taught me something to be like, Sheldon, just make sure you have a second little checklist just to make sure you're double checking the other side of things too. And you're not missing any opportunities for shorts as well, because those could have been clear as well. Okay. But the supports are there. So you've got 97, you've got 94, and you have 88,000. That's the supports when it comes to the charts. So now to add a bit of confidence to that, let's go look at CME gaps. We've got CME gap sitting in the mid 96,000. Okay. And we have another CME gap sitting at the 91,000 over here too. Another few things to also keep an eye on as well is we obviously look at a couple of RSIs. Okay, so daily RSI is hitting the bottom. The problem that we have is the weekly is now starting to come down. Okay, so it's basically telling us that there's a temporary bounce incoming. Okay, once we hit strong support, but once we're done with that bounce, if we don't get through certain areas, we must realize that this could be a little bit of a longer term pullback than what we expect. Okay, however, if we recover the pullback, okay, and we actually break into the highs, then that was it kind of done. But it gives me those two little perspectives. So now I have 96 and 90, 91, 92. Let's go look at my support zones, okay? And it's quite interesting to see that these supports over here, this 96 to this 90, 98,000, there is support there. And there's one lower down over here, this 94, okay? And there is even these wicks. These zones are actually a little bit bigger, where these bottom wicks and the tops are. So it shows us that one of these two could definitely be the bottoms. We're not getting too much signs yet that we should drop into the late 80s, okay? But it's telling us that here, very likely, is the two drops. The next thing that I'm obviously doing as well is just zooming in a little bit and tracking this to the downside. And it is telling me the decision will still be made in a couple of days from now. This was a little bit of damage. It will take a little bit of time to recover. However, let's speak about the recoveries. Let's jump in here, and I want to go through the two different recovery plans, right? Where did I put them? Here we go. Okay. Here are the two recoveries. Because again, what does a recovery look like? I think that's the important thing for us to understand. What does it really look like? Okay. So let's speak about capitulation. Capitulation is they're going to go for it now today. Because remember, we have market open today. The things happened on Saturday. We don't know how the market's going to react when the market opens today, right? And I just want to show you one more thing before we go back here, okay, is if you look at the stock markets as a whole, there is a scenario of a stronger pullback. I looked over here and I see a left shoulder ahead and the right shoulder is down here. So there is something that's telling us that if something doesn't go too well, there can be a nice 3-4% drop within the stock markets. Okay, must keep that in mind. Again, as well, there is support and this could obviously start to explode over here too. So let's go through the two different scenarios. Let's go capitulation. All right, so capitulation looks something like this. We have now bounced. Not strong enough. We bounced straight into resistance. There's resistance here, resistance here. We're not breaking any major trends right now. Okay. So for me, it's meaning that this is not a real bounce just yet. There's actually another catalyst that can bring us to the downside. And let's speak about the big drop. So something like this will happen. We will start dropping to the 100s now, have a test, and there'll be another big event. Boom. There's obviously war and stuff going on right now, and things can escalate very quickly. This big drop down over here, and then a recovery looks like this, where we've dropped and we absolutely engulf it to a higher high. That's what a recovery looks like. Once that happens, this is why I think it's vital for us this week to spend time together to get these buys, because when this bounce happens, I think the market's going to do nothing for a little while after that. So it's going to drop, recover, and then get boring. We want to make sure we're in profits for when that happens. We don't have to sit and fight this area over here. We got entries, we got positions, we built, we're strong, we're over here. So that's a capitulation event. Let's speak about we recover pretty soon now. What that means is we need a higher low, okay? And that doesn't mean we're going to ignore the CME gaps, okay? But this is what we'd need to see a bullish recovery right now. Is a drop now, a higher low, hold the 100,000 or the late 99,000s. Then we got to rip up to 109. Then there'll be a trap, and then we'll continue. That's what the bullish version looks like over there. Again, I got a trend line tracking. For now, I'm preparing for this event, okay? But soon we'll know if that event's not in play, and we'll start playing through this event over here too. Okay, next thing as well, as I was checking dominance, dominance is just rallying slowly to the upside. Just remember, it's in a huge channel. When it hits the top of these channels, it tends to come back down at any point. So it's telling us that we could still see strength over here at any point, but there will be a distribution. And all that I could see here is the more we're pushing up, the distribution will come back down to 62, 61%. So there will be a distribution at some point. Here is your altcoins. There are 3 lines of support on alts. This one, I don't think it's going to hold right now. I think we're going to go down lower. Okay, and the next support, this is the total 3, is sitting around 6% down. So this is up to 10% drop from where we are now on your alts. And there is a scenario of up to a 15% to 20% drop, right? So what did I do on this scenario over here? I'm sitting with 4% cash in positions, right? Some of the positions, again, let me just clarify. The long-term and spot positions that are in profits or are not too much in a loss, I freed up 3 to 4% of cash to have cash to build trades, right? The tokens that I'm in a big loss in, I sold 4% of those tokens and I rebought them in a leverage portfolio with 1x. So I didn't take any leverage yet, but I just opened the position so that I can then build that when the markets are ready to go up again. So again, tokens that I have in the long term that are still strong-ish, I sold for some cash. Tokens that are in a big loss, so for DOT as the example, I sold 4% of my DOT and I rebought a new entry over here with leverage. Not doing anything else, there's no liquidation risk, but when it goes up, I can do something with that. Okay, I need to give myself positive energy and positive strategies to use when the market starts to rally up again. So that's what I did over there. So again, this should not be afraid. Should not be scared of this. You should just think about the strategy. What's the best thing you can do if this plays out over here? When it comes to your altcoins, I see some support. ETH did hit support. So there is some support, but there's more support lower down at the 1950. So it's giving me a bit of idea. I don't think we drop all the way down here. We have a 5% and we have a 15% scenario. We'll know pretty soon. Again, long term, I think this is great. Here's your obviously your Solana I spoke about. Here's 𝗬𝗏. I think 𝗬𝗏 is so cheap now. If I was buying it last week, again, I got stopped out on 𝗬𝗏 at 2.8. Okay, so when I told you guys about everything I tell you, I'll buy, right? So here I bought last week, and I look at this now, and I'm like, oh, if I buy back right now, I will not make more money. I will make 16% more 𝗬𝗏. If I buy it over here, I'll make 23%, and if it drops down here, I'll make 42% more 𝗬𝗏. Right? I don't have to put any more money in. All I had to do was just get stopped at a good level. Remember, stop losses are not a bad thing if they can accumulate you more tokens. Not a bad thing. Okay, it's leverage where it's tough. That's why you take small breaks and then you go. Here's Injective. So there is supports, guys, but the 3-level supports over here is the important thing. A quick thing before I go through a couple more tokens over here. School starts tomorrow. I highly suggest if you want to get pumped up right now and get your head in the space and realize that you're here to make a lot of money in the next 2 to 3 years, okay, and you want to get positivity and get smart and get things going, I promise you this is going to be one of the most incredible schools you'll ever join. It's incredible. It's really my game plan to $1 million, okay? Again, I'm going to show you a couple of things of indicators and things like this as well within it, but it's going to be incredible. We're going to build your foundation. We're going to build your trading toolkit. We're going to help with your exchange and setup and execution. We're going to build your technical analysis essentials, and then we're going to give you the blueprint that every day you're going to be a robot and just follow the blueprint. You're going to know what tokens to trade. You're going to know what time frames to trade. You're going to know all of these different things as well. And what's exciting that's coming soon after that is the advanced leverage course is incoming over here as well. Guys, I do have a promo for you guys as well. For the first 100 people, so what you got to do is you got to sign up with WEEX. Remember, all you have to do to get into school, it's free. You just sign up with the exchange account and you get verified. Okay, we found a new cool way as well. When you open up your exchange, it will tell you to get verified quickly. Okay, so the process won't be long, but you have time until tomorrow. Here's WEEX. The first 100 people from today's show that sign up with WEEX, you get $100 airdrop bonus. Okay, and this will come quickly to you. So you join Sniper School 2.0, register and deposit $100 today and complete one trade, and you get a $100 airdrop bonus for anyone. So again, to show you over here where the links are, let's go below here. Okay, here we go. That is the school. And there is the WEEX right under the school over there. Nice. It's easy for you. Go straight below. There's the school. There's the WEEX account. Open up the WEEX account. And the first 100 people will get $100. Okay, fantastic. Let's go down the route a bit. I see things like XRP is going to catch up. I think XRP can make its way down to 1.6 to 1.8, guys. Good areas, right? Good areas over here. I can't believe this. Doge's next support at 12 cents if we lose these zones over here. Crazy. Big investment areas. Look at this, guys. I know it is crazy when it comes to losses, but when it comes to opportunities and where these damn tokens are sitting, we have a long way to trade up together. Going to be incredible. And we're not too far from the trends. So that means, again, I think a quick recovery will come once the panic happens. We'll settle for a few days, and then we start rocketing through. Guys, I will be here again tomorrow. Again, those who don't want to quit and are here to make money in 2-3 years, I'll see you here tomorrow. We're going to adjust the strategies. We're going to get pumping. We're going to get going. And we're going to turn this into a big success. Have a fantastic day. Lots of love. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.